So in my last garden vlog, I talked about getting the cassava canes in a bucket and stuff. And I went ahead and clipped some of the leggy and longevity spinach and a few of the hibiscus. I think I got two types of hibiscus in here. One over here, and I think this is the cranberry hibiscus. The low today was supposed to be like 51 degrees. Now, back down to 40. I keep complaining about the weatherman here. This is beyond ridiculous. 11-degree difference between yesterday's forecast for tonight and this morning's forecast for tonight. And tomorrow night, it's supposed to be down to 32. Another potential freeze. Last night's weather and this morning was supposed to be between 32 and 33 degrees. Last minute it changed to like 35. So it was somewhere between like 35 and 38 this morning. And it stayed at 38 for at least 2 hours after I woke up. We did not get like a freeze warning or anything last night because I guess maybe they didn't ever expect the low temperatures to last, as many hours as it takes to freeze something, kill your crops. But I guess we'll see if we get a freeze warning tomorrow night. The amount of plants we brought into the house is just kind of sort of overwhelming. So I definitely hope that we will have a nice greenhouse or something in place in the coming years, because I really don't want to keep bringing the plants in the house every time we get a freeze warning. Apparently those squash, pumpkins, crosses, hybrids, whatever, were a huge hit. People are raving about them, still raving about them days later. So I'm happy that people are happy. And probably 100 seeds in each one of the squash we gave away. And if everybody keeps their seeds, dries them, cleans them, and people want them. People that didn't get them, they were disappointed. It would be nice if people pureed them and gave some of these people puree so that they can use it in their own recipes. But if not, spread the seeds, that's 800 plus seeds probably. No one needs, 100 seeds of these. If you got good fertile soil, you see they can actually grow 1,000 or 1,000 foot plus vines. So, hey, spread it. Now, I've noticed the tea olives, both of the ones I have, are blooming a lot. But they don't have their apricot smell. For a few weeks I've smelled them. I said, why aren't they smelling? They usually release scent, every few minutes or so. A little breeze will catch that scent and it'll fill the yard full of apricot smell. And barely do I smell it when I put my nose up to them. So it must just be the time of year or something. And of course, the longevity spinach, we tried some. It's just in cold weather, late season, it just doesn't have the same flavor as that fresh spring or midsummer, early summer taste, like that really fresh green bean taste. Tastes like a weed or something now. Sambokans are definitely full here. Maybe we should harvest 50 plus of these, maybe some citrumelos, and maybe some white grapefruit, and also share these with the community members that might be interested. They have a cool little look, kind of like a big navel area there. And they smell like a lemon. They taste like lemonade, like already sweetened lemonade. And that's why they're popular in Japan. But in America, they're a novelty item. In Japan, they juice these guys and sell them in a little juice bottle. on my last vlog, I believe I talked about, you know, how small the sweet potatoes and stuff were. And this has been an ongoing problem. You get a crop, either a few sweet potatoes that never super big ones. I've had them edible size, you know, maybe like that, 3 inches or so. The ones you seen yesterday were like really skinny and maybe 2 inches long. But it's kind of important if you're going to move closer to that ability to not be self-sustaining, but just inching closer to that you need to be able to keep those alive, be able to harvest a good crop, and keep repropagating them, you know, cassavas, longevity spinach, which, you know, all these guys are, you know, frost tender. They're not tropical, they're probably subtropical, but they probably do a little better, just a slightly bit, you know, south, maybe like Orlando area or something. With cassavas themselves, you have to worry about the base dying in a freeze, even if you cover them. You know, some people have them come back a lot. Some people have them die and not come back. You cover it, and hopefully that maximizes your potential for them to survive. Or maybe put the water bottle, water containers, you know, water jugs, 20, 30, whatever gallon, 5 gallon, to keep that area sort of warm. But you also have to worry if they survive too long, you know, like 2 years or more, and then their tubers are too rough to eat, you know, so you might have to grate them or just destroy them or something. So you harvest the tops just in case your base dies, reroot the plants from the stems, the tops, and then hopefully you're able to replenish your supply, you know, even if your base dies, even if your tubers aren't big enough in the ground to eat. I want to show you guys, we didn't have a big crop at all of the blood oranges because of the weird weather we had last year. But there is a lot of like blood. You may not even be able to see it with the light here. Like it's like seeping through the bottom of the skin. There we go. You could probably see how, oh, here's one really, look how bloody, like that one there is. It almost looks like a peach. I've never seen it get that red before. Wonder what it's going to look like inside. I sort of consider these a novelty as well. They almost have a little navel there, but they're hard to peel. I don't know what cultivar this is, so a small crop, hard to peel. So yeah, I consider it a novelty. I mean, the taste, I guess we can taste one and see what it tastes like. All right, so there's the top. You know, it's kind of orange with a slight maybe mix of reds, and as you go down you get to a darker red. All right, it's just, like I said, they're a pain in the butt to peel, but I'm just going to take a bite like this with it half peeled. They got a tang to them, whereas our red navels are like really sweet. And if you don't eat the red navels early, they get sweeter. And I kind of like the tanginess versus the sweet, super sweet ones at least. Look at all that like juice in there, like where I took a bite. Of course, citrus is always better when you come out when it's 30, 40, 50 degrees. It's like right from the refrigerator. As you've probably noticed, we've been using, you know, a lot of stuff from our garden, more, you know, for edible stuff and all that, and sharing with the community. So why would we do this unless we had an ultimate plan to use it in our own tables, to share with the community, or to somehow barter or trade or make money or something off this, that, and the other. So, yep. This is the white grapefruit that I've never really liked, but maybe at 38 degrees or whatever it is right now, it'll be good. Better cold, juicy, got a little bit of that grapefruit flavor. Still just mild, bland. I mean, I keep reading that, white grapefruit cultivars have so much more flavor than the red. Now, I've had other ones that were extremely acidic. This doesn't seem that super acidic or anything. I've had white grapefruits that were acidic and like that grapefruit bitterness and, and flavor. This guy, whether it's where it's at, I don't know. Just doesn't compare to my citrumellos or anything, and definitely does not compare to my red seedling. So we're just going to toss this guy back, and look how beautiful these citrumellos are. Again, didn't get a large crop like last year because of the freezes just killed so many of the blooms. But we got a little bit, I don't know, 15, 20. Look how pretty that is. And I've learned not to get these off the ground because once they fall, and they're there for a day or two, they get that kind of like rotting flavor. Even if they're good, there's a little bit of that decomposing flavor mixed in there that's not good. So easy to peel. A lot of seeds in them, but there's also a lot of edible flesh in there. So I'm going to take a bite. Pretty much like eating lemonade. Get too much of the skin and it'll get a little bit bitter, but it's not as bitter as most grapefruits are. It took a few years after fruiting to actually get a decent flavor. Last year I considered them like a more flavorful white grapefruit because they tasted sort of like grapefruit, not as bitter skin as I said, and just very, overall nice. And I've heard people say they taste like burnt rubber. Maybe this does taste like burnt rubber to somebody, or maybe this is just a different cultivar, or just different genetics. This to me is a good alternative because I think it's more cold hardy than grapefruit. Here's one of our seedling Suriname cherries here from our own original tree. There's one there, and look how purple the leaves are. Wonder how much shock it's going to go through from the little frosts we had, and we'll continue to have. Definitely pretty though. There's one sort of under the tree area, one or two plants there. Who knows, there could be some more under here. Yep. There's one or two or three right there, another two right there, and possibly some over here. Here's the mother tree, and as you can see, over the years it's died down pretty low from the freezes, but it's, it come back, and we really, let's plant as many as we can, seedlings, and put them in little microclimates in areas that might be just a little warm. So if a super deep freeze comes, it could wipe out this tree, it could wipe out others, but maybe something will survive. Maybe we'll get big enough crops eventually that we can make pies and jams and preserves. That goes back to cassava, trying to keep your own supply alive and repropagate it. The best of years, this single plant has not been able to create enough for jam or pie. But if we got 10 or 20 just here, there, and everywhere, and most, if not all, are producing them at the same time, and we don't get major hard freezes every year, then we might have enough to actually do something with them. The strawberry or catlay or lemon and yellow guavas, those were most of those things I've tried before. They've died in a frost or something. But we moved them, last year we planted them in maybe a little bit more microclimate area that's protected by trees, and it's wetland zone 1 and just outside of that area. So so far so good. But again, if we were able to keep them alive, keep them producing fruit eventually, and repropagate them, and have 30 or 50 of each types, however many it takes to make them usable, to put some sort of food on our plates, that is, progress, right? Anyway, my hands are freezing now since I opened several citrus and got my hands wet with citrus juice. Always something to be leery about when it's 30 or 40 degrees outside. Guess that's it. Take care.